techniques, and you are going to want to learn these. These are going to be good for you. You can use these with people on the residence hall floors, if you're an RA or if you're a hall director and you've got weird stuff going on your floor. I've had to use these things because they can, people, I mean, in these residence halls, these students recreate their families of origin. And they get too close and they expect too much of each other sometimes, or they feel totally left out or disengaged, and you might need to help them with boundaries. And these are all, these can be boundary issues, but there's also a contextual. Remember how we said if you understand the context, you can really understand the symptom and what it's doing to serve the family, and how it keeps the family going and the family keeps it going? It's still circular. Let me say that again. The symptom keeps the family going, and the family keeps the symptom going. Okay? Because it's useful. It maintains a homeostasis, an equilibrium, and our job is to disrupt that equilibrium, to pull the rug right out from under them. Okay? But we got some fun things to do that we get to do that. The first thing, and you need to star this and frame it, and this is the #1 skill that I believe you need to take with you in whatever you do, and that's the ability to reframe right in the moment, right when you're talking to a client or a student or a parent, for those of you that are going to work with parents and teachers. Now, why don't you get out of that PowerPoint and move to just a page or two later. You see this? I'm into this now, and this is going to be a lot more, it's going to be more detailed for you. Did you turn on the camera?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, everybody know where I'm at now? Okay, how many of you know what a reframe is? Don't read it, just think about reframing.
Saying something different in a different way.
Good. It's the same basic facts, but you take those facts and you put a whole different spin on the same thing. This is what politicians do so well, right?
Right.
They reframe. They reframe. Spin City, do you remember that show by any chance with Michael J. Fox?
Michael J. Fox, yeah.
They were reframing. Yes, yes.
Matthew Broderick?
Nope.
The other guy?
Cameron.
So reframe is taking the very same set of facts or the very same circumstances and providing an alternative explanation or an alternative perspective, so that the way the family has been seeing it, they can no longer see it that way. They see it differently. For example, the family that came in with the child that was stealing, and once the mom and the stepdad understood the reframe that we provided, oh, stealing, just like his life disappeared. He's trying to get it back, piece by piece, and he's desperate, so he's stealing. Once we reframed it that way, they started interacting differently with him. Anybody got any guesses about how they might have started interacting with this kid versus, oh my God, our kid is a criminal and he's stealing? Versus, oh, he has lost his whole life and he is desperate to try to find some kind of life back.
So basically like providing perspective, a different perspective.
It is. It's providing a different perspective. But this alternative perspective that you're going to provide them has to fit equally well or better than theirs. Because otherwise it's not going to work. Equally well or better. So when you change the context, in some ways, you're altering the meaning, therefore you alter the context, and when you do that, you alter the interactions. You alter the way they see the problem, then they respond to the problem differently. So rather than being angry and throwing more rules at the kid about stealing, when that family began to understand the loss, they started responding to the grief and the loss, which then made it unnecessary for the kid to steal. See how that altered? So you're altering the context by providing an alternative perspective or meaning. I start doing that the minute I sat down with Don and Barb. I started doing that. You guys remember that? Remember any reframes I gave Don and Barb during the Don and Barb conversation?
She saw it as like he didn't want her at the store, and he saw it as I want to make your life easier.
Yes.
It's kind of how you did it for them.
Yes. So I was able to say, oh, okay, so you've been protecting him all this time by carrying emotion and grief for two people. Not sure you need to do that, but okay, I get it. And then for him, oh, so you're trying to protect her from the stress of everyday life and of the business and of the home. And so, and plus, did you hear me? I also said for him, how helpless it must be for the man who's always fixed everything for his wife not to be able to fix it. Not be able. How do you fix depression? Especially when you haven't ever had to be responsible for the emotional well-being of the family. That's the wife's job. So then what do? You see how those reframes, just little tiny reframes like that throughout, can build a whole new reality. And then they left closer than when they came in. Virginia did a lot of that for her couple. She created she provided some reframes. I loved her reframe of the bottom line. So as opposed to kind of this all or nothing frame, which is could be a metaphor that you could use. Oh, you guys are kind of in a stalemate, you're in an all or nothing. She said bottom line. And then she valued each one of their bottom lines. And so she used two of my favorites, reframe and metaphor. Metaphor is going to be my number 2 skill I want you to start using immediately upon being in this class. Reframe is number 1. This is number 1 because this is, I don't know, it's just kind of a natural thing. The other part of reframe that you need to understand is that you're helping people, families and systems move from a linear frame. It's Johnny's fault. He's the stealer, what a bad kid we've got. Or it's June's fault because she's hiding 40 pills under her pillow. You're helping move from a linear hypothesis that the family's presenting to you, and you're making it systemic. You're making it circular. So your job is to always reframe. Give another an alternative perspective, an alternative hypothesis, one that the family can hear that's even better, equal or better than, but at least equal to the one they've already got. Okay? Okay. We are going to practice reframe, but I'm going to make that an assignment for you. Okay? So that you can do that over the weekend, or Monday or Tuesday or something. So let me explain some of these other ones to you. But reframe. I think I've got, do I have any other? Now, the alteration of meaning invites the possibility of change. Isn't that great? That is so simple and yet so powerful. Reframe is more than merely taking something negative and making it into a positive. It requires understanding the meaning. Oh yeah, this is very important. It requires understanding the meaning the client has given to the problem. So you don't dismiss their perspective, ever. Okay, that's not what this is about. As a matter of fact, in order for you to truly give a good reframe that meets or exceeds their own frame, you will have had to enter and understand their frame so that you can move it along, so that you can tweak it, so to speak. So you will value and respect their perspective, but you're going to tweak it. So you'll have to definitely have empathy. It'll help you. And one of the reasons that I was able to tell Don, was able to reframe Don's going to work and being at work, not because he was, trying to ditch his wife, but because the helplessness that he must feel at home, because he doesn't know what to do with her depression. So that kind of helplessness, that kind of reframe can really help both of them see what each other's doing differently and interact differently. You guys understand reframe? You're going to understand it more because it's a pretty lengthy homework assignment just to get you to practice reframe. There really isn't anything you can't reframe. And so I'm going to have you practice reframing some of the things that I most often see in my practice and that you will see. Nagging, very common. People don't want to be nagged. Just reframe for nagging. The silent husband, the controller, the lazy person. Anyway, all these things, people come in complaining that a family member has. It'll be your job to start reframing that right away. So we're going to practice some of that for you.